Hello everyone, today we're going to install this Tsunami2 TSUKN1 decoder into this nice PA1. So this drops right in, should be pretty easy, except that you have to install your own speaker. They give you a little bit of wire for that and your own LED, so there's a little bit of soldering needed. So you need a little bit of basic soldering skills to put that in. Also, it's a wide decoder, which means, as far as I know, soundtracks, they don't make any decoders for skinny engine, like for example an SD40 or a GP38. So you have to use a locomotive that has a wide body. Covered wagons, as railroad fans call them. So let's dig right in. On top of the soldering needed to do this, you have to have basic. You have to modify the frame. I'm gonna pop the shell right off in a minute. We'll just take a little bit of a good look at this packaging. It's unclear to me. Also, take note, this decoder is a little bit on the expensive side. In fact, it's more expensive than the PA. More expensive than the PA1. So I hope it's really good quality and it lasts a long time. I know that PA1, being a Kato, they last forever. A little bit of oh, there's special effects you can do. Look at that. This is actually a really good decoder. So a lot of features it has. Look at that. Give you a little bit of a function map. I guess these are my instructions. Look at that. There's 8 prime mover sounds. So there's a couple of EMD for E units. I'm going to listen to all of them. Apparently this sounds really good. The Alco 244. Then there's a bunch of other things you can adjust. Air horns. Tells you which one they are. Wow, this is really interesting. Let's see on the other side what we've got. Okay, just normal stuff, and then the functions, which I think you can do function mapping with this, but I just use the first basic ones. So I'll be reading the installation tips for sure. So there's where your speaker goes. So I've got to solder the speaker and I've got to make room for it. Perfect. Just take a quick peek at this locomotive. So it's got all the ladders, the horn is there, front coupler is there. I just bought this used, but it's mint. Really beautiful. Actually has a different horn than the PA from last week, which is fine. You can hardly notice it. So I did the wheel cleaning last week, so I won't show you that again. This locomotive looks to be very clean, so there's no need to go nuts about that. So to remove the shell, there's 2 tabs, one on each side. I like just to put a toothpick in there and it should pop right out. There's one on this side here. Then let's see if I did it right. Well, maybe not. Oh yeah, look at that. That was easy. So this is the tab on this side. That's the tab on the other side. It's actually held in there by the windows. The windows have little tabs to hold your shell in. So once you know, it becomes really easy. So that's got It's got a detailed interior. It's a very, very nice locomotive. And there's our DC board. Super nice. Actually, I do need this board for my other PA, which has no light. Alright, perfect. So, because I have to carve out a notch here for my speaker, I have to disassemble the whole thing, which I will. So I'll be using the box to hold my parts. The insert is backward, so I can fix that. Kato, they're nice. They give you the rapido couplers should you ever need them. But I'm going to be using the factory Kato couplers. They're good enough for me. There. So first part is you have to remove this little clip. Now this clip, it can fly off, so put your finger over it. And I'm pretty sure, I have never installed a Tsunami decoder, but I'm pretty sure you need it to put it back in. So as you remove that, put your finger over it so it doesn't fly out. And I don't want to break this part, you do need it. So yeah, just remove that, put it aside, and then the decoder should just come out. These little tabs, you can bend them back later. Yeah, it just slides out. The little pin here to hold it, so it just slides out. So yeah, I'm going to be using that for my PA that has no light. Sweet! And then these, very gently bend them out. These are meant to be easy for the people at the factory. They're easy to put together, but to take them apart, there are steps to maintain. So these two blocks here, they hold, they basically hold the trucks in place. They're not very hard to remove. You need them for the locomotive to run right. You do need them. And then we've got this assembly here, this gray assembly here. This all comes out at the same time with the worm gears. So you just go one step at a time. Use gravity as your friend and it will pop out. Here we go. We'll keep the worm gears around. When I put them back, which I have no stress right now, I'll put them back when I get around to it, but when I put them back, look at that, there's a little bit of dirt there. You can hardly see it. Well, we can't have that. I'm going to remove that right away. So yeah, when I put them back together, I will make sure that, oh, look at how smooth running these are. Insane. So when I put it back together, I'll make sure to line up everything the way it was. Perfect. So now I can pop the two trucks out. My good screwdriver's on the floor right now. That's okay. We'll give it a little bit of a timeout so it can think about its behavior. And then when it's nice again, I'll pick it back up from the floor. So there's your front truck and there's your back truck. You just pry gently under there. The reason why I need to disassemble everything, it's because I am going to mill this. And when I do that, there's a whole bunch of shrapnel. I don't want any shrapnel in my motor or in my gears. So I'll keep the gears and the motors nice and safe while I do that. So there's lots of room here for a speaker. So I'm gonna measure that and notch it out. This decoder, it's so pretty, it's purple. I believe the reason why they put the LEDs separate from the decoder is because you can adjust it, whether it's for an F unit or an E7 or E8 or a PA. So I'll be keeping my board real close so that I can adjust it exactly the way it's meant to be. Look at that, that should fit right in. But I'll adjust the LEDs exactly to where the Kato one was. So that is for later. Let's see what else we have. A little bit of wires to wire in the speaker, and then a selection of speaker enclosures and some speaker baffles. So we have the speaker baffles, all different sizes with the speaker. We have some Kapton tape. I pretty much have my own, but that's nice to know. 2 LEDs if you need them. So I'm going to keep them in a decoder area. Then a little bit of wire to wire in your speaker. So I don't know if the smaller enclosure is better or if the bigger enclosure is better. No clue. I'm gonna assume that the biggest is better. Like I said, I don't know. So I'm gonna go ahead and start installing the bigger one. You know, all these years making models, I still don't own a sprue cutter. That I should probably correct that. I think before Christmas, which I'm starting to plan for Christmas because I have to order stuff from Japan and that takes a while. Also, before I make my order, I think things through. I've got to order some track, but since track is not cheap, I think I'm gonna sit down and look at some track plans, decide what I want to do, and then these enclosures, they all look about the same. Decide what I want to do and then order exactly the amount of track that I need. So I've got to go over that before I make my order. So relative to the locomotive, this is very small. Let's just check it out. So I'm going to use my Sharpie, and then I'm going to mark the area that I want to remove for that. I think I'm going to remove just a little bit bigger, but that should fit right in. Let's take a look at the shell. You know, if you're feeling very courageous, you can pop open the hole here, and that will make a place for sound to escape. You could also maybe enlarge this window. That would also help. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be quite happy with the way this sounds right out of the box. I'm not changing the fan, the cooling fan. Okay, so I'm going to mark this with my Sharpie, and then we'll go ahead and make that notch. As you can see, it stays far from anything mechanically related, so this should still go nice and smooth. I've got a bunch of tools available. I've got an angle grinder, I've got a Dremel, I've got all kinds of files, and what I found works the best is the hacksaw. So I got a brand new hacksaw blade. I'm gonna whip out the hacksaw and just hacksaw that. That should take 2 minutes. And then I'll just use the Dremel to remove all these sharp edges here. So let's see how this fits. Oh yeah, plenty of room. I could even put maybe some sticky tape or something. I've got tons of room for that. Now I'm gonna go wash this, and I'll wash the shell at the same time. and I'll get to work on cleaning the wheels. If you want to see how to clean the wheels, I made a nice video on that last week, so you can go ahead and find that. Should be pretty easy to find. It's called Mystery Locomotive. Putting everything back together. So I like to have my engine cradle and the worm gears together. And then I'll just slide back in here. Slide everything right back in here together. Oh wow, that went right in. Wow, these are meant to be easy for the people at the factory. Everything goes right back together. Easy peasy Japanesey. These don't really have an orientation. They're very symmetrical, so you don't even have to worry about that. Look at that. And now we're up and running. We just need the board, and that's it. I was looking at George Bogachuk from Soundtracks doing the exact same install on an F7 yesterday, and he explained why they have two LEDs with different length, because on the PA it has to be long, but if you're doing an F7 it has to be about so long, so that's why. Also they give you two, so you could put one in the back. Let's say you have a P42 or an F40PH, you have the option to do that. So this is the front, and you can see there's a plus and a minus. It's a plus and a minus, and the arrow points to the front. So on the LED, the long one is the plus, so you can cut it to length and then solder it in. And he didn't put it through these little holes, he just soldered it right in on the pad. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Before you shorten this one, the plus, I'm gonna put some Sharpie on it, just so I know that it's the plus and I don't get confused. And this second LED is gonna go for another engine. Look at that, Durango, Colorado. So I guess it might be made in the USA. That is important. Yeah, look at that, made in the USA. So that should be really good quality. So I pre-tin everything, so that should go nice and smooth. As you can see, it looks great. I'm even gonna give it that little bend. So that should look factory. Perfect. I'm working on these speaker wires. Now putting them on the inside like that just makes everything look just a little bit neater. But I want this to be very precise. I pre-tinned everything, of course, and that makes a big difference. Almost got it. I just feel like being very, very precise today, so if I need to do it 3 times, I'll do it 3 times. There, that feels nice and solid. I just wanted to show you a close-up of the finished speaker wires. If you were curious, that's where they go. So almost done. I just have to wire the speaker now. I'm striving to get the wiring as neat as possible, so I'm making the wires very short so I have no extra to hide. It's really important that I get this done today because I'm in the zone. Perfect. perfect. I'd much rather have them leave like that now because I've got all my tools ready and I'm in the zone. Oh, look at that. That is so neat. I like it. Really proud of that job. Oh, and another thing I wanted to mention, they do make a skinny decoder. It starts with N18. It's for the next 18 plug scale trains. They have a nice video on a scale trains locomotive that has a skinny hood with handrails and walkways. Hood unit they call them. So they do make a skinny decoder, just so you know. We are not quite done. I still have to install these contact strips here. So you have to put Kapton tape on here to prevent the motor leads here, these two pins, from contacting the track directly. You want to isolate them from the track. So I'll remove this again and we'll put some Kapton tape on that. Just like George Bogachuk, I'm going to measure very precisely exactly where I want the Kapton tape to be and then mark it with my Sharpie because I want that to be exact. That should be awesome. They provide you with a chunk of Kapton tape. That is lots. Actually, you can do a couple of engines with this. But I'm gonna just cut a couple of little chunks. That's all I need to isolate that. This is a little bit higher quality than the Kapton tape that I have, so I am gonna use that. Just need to line it up properly there. And that will isolate the motor from the track. And then using my scissors, I'm just gonna make it just very neat under here. Wow, that looks awesome. So I'm gonna install that right now. Now as you install it, you will see little pins to guide you. So it has to be under these two little dots. There's another dot here to help you center it. And these help the circuit board contact the strip. So just keep that in mind. Got a chunk of two-sided tape. That is sticky. I'm going to put that on the bottom here just so I can support the speaker a little bit. I've got my sticky tape in place and I put some Kapton tape on the corner there just to make sure my wires weren't going to touch the frame. That would short out the speaker. I don't want that. That would be bad. Well then, that wasn't so bad now, was it? All I gotta do is put back my board, which I will do just a little bit, taking my time, because we're almost done. And then these two pins have to contact the board now. But that, it's all coming together. Now, George, he would solder these in, which I don't think I'm going to do. I'm going to use the original pin from Kato. I think it's going to work. Just put that pin back in there, and that should make it work. It was a little bit of work to get it in, but now it's in, so I think it's going to work. Only one way to find out. Let's go put it on the track. Let's just see what happens. So I'm getting sounds and there's a little blue light there tells me I'm in contact with the track. That's a really good feature. It's starting up for me, so that's great. Let's go program on the program track. Enter. And then just standard. Suspense. Yay! Manufacturer 141. Decoder number 71. Setup address, yes. Short address. It was written as 003, which is good. Activate this address, yes. Then we'll just do the long address, which is going to be now I've got to go back and do the long address. Got to go back and do it. I don't mind making mistakes on camera like that. Shows you I'm just human. So that's good. That's good. Setup address. Perfect. Yes. Long address. It's going to be 52 62. Wait a second. Be 57 52. So 5 7 5 2. Five, 7, 5, 2. There. Now I'm happy. Activate this address. Yes. And then we can skip everything else. And then escape. We should be up and running now. The sound is beautiful. Let's just see if it moves forward. Perfect. Let's try the light here. Ooh, nice and bright. And then reverse. You can set up the CVs to change the that's awesome. What else could we work on this? Sounds really nice. So you can choose, pretty much choose all horns and bells and prime movers. Actually, the prime mover will sounds like fun. Let's fool around with that. They made it easy for me. The prime mover CV123, just like the XL systems and the MRC that I'm used to. So that's going to be easy to remember. So there's 8 files, so you can program this while your locomotive's running. So we'll do that. Program on the main. Enter. I don't want that. I want to select local. 57 52. So we'll do that. Program on the main. Enter. 6752. CV123. Enter. And then the default should be 0, so there should be no change. Perfect. Then we'll put a value of 1. which would be the E unit. I'm going to bring my instructions back so we can correlate that. So it should be the E unit. And then EMD 645E. And then we'll do EMD 645F. That sounds very nice. Then 645E 20 cylinder. One, two, three, four. That's good to know. And 645 second generation. Wow, they have some nice files in there. It actually does sound like fun. So GE 7FDL16, we'll try that. Value 6. Sounds really good. And then that's what I need. I need the Alco. That is a value of 3. Not 3. 7. Yes, 7. Perfect for PA1. I keep the light off because it's blinding. Everything seems to be working fine with this. I think I'm pretty much ready to put the shell back on. Sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, everything's good. Super. Okay, I have been running this off camera just for fun, and I keep losing contact with the motor leads. So I'm gonna do just like George, and I'm gonna solder them together. So I'm gonna hold this down, and you don't want to give it too much heat. You want to give it just the minimum. So that should keep me in contact with the motor at all times. Alright, I'm going to do some more testing before I put the shell back on. Function 23 is all aboard. So that's really neat. So the headlight has a dimming function. Now on the camera it's flickering, but in person it's not. Function 7 allows you to dim it, which I think I am going to use that. The bright is much too bright. Well, it seems to be running fine now. The only thing I wish maybe that they had was a system to have an outside speaker like their Broadway Limited Rolling Thunder. So I looked at a bunch of videos. They do have a system like that that's available. So it's just a little complicated. You have to add a transponder. It's called KN1. You have to add that to it, and then you have to buy their own sound system, which is a little bit on the expensive side. But the sound file in the locomotive is impressive. Perfect. So let's put the shell back on. Well, I'll be honest, this was actually a little fun to do. So we'll just put the shell back on. It's nice and snug. And now it's time to run some trains. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I certainly had fun making it for you. See you soon.